Tell us your Maha story.
I was the original Maha.
What?
Cleaning up our food system. That's obviously my foundation is just real food, real clean.
Somebody who's been captive and they have a taste of freedom, they're not going to go back and say, I want to be captive. It's kind of the same thing.
You are a rare case because you wanted to do something about it and you were willing to make a lifestyle change and not just take the red or the blue pill.
It's a really scary disease. And what's so frightening is that the doctors are literally just, well, you have like two options. You take the medication and then you get to the point where the medication is not working anymore and we take your intestine.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Seth, and this is The Forever Young Show. The most powerful force in this world is a woman who knows who she is, why she is here, and what she wants to accomplish.
And that's where self-care comes in. As a woman, it is my opportunity and my responsibility to take care of me.
Self-care for your mind.
Self-care for your body.
Self-care for your money.
Our mission is to serve women as they fulfill their irreplaceable roles in families, society, business, the fabric of humanity.
So let's get this show on the road.
Alisha Valdez is a professionally trained chef, wellness entrepreneur, and founder of Mountain Wellness Kitchen, a gluten-free, dairy-free, and seed oil-free meal service based in Heber City, Utah.
I'm just going to say amen, amen, amen to all of that.
Right?
Yes.
Driven by her passion for holistic living and real food, Alisha helps women and families simplify healthy eating through scratch-made meals and practical, non-toxic lifestyle tips.
As a mom of two and advocate for women's wellness, she's on a mission to make nourishment approachable, sustainable, and deeply empowering. So, Alisha, what are you most passionate about right now, and what are you doing about it?
Cleaning up our food system. That's obviously my foundation is just real food, real clean. When I personally started my wellness journey, I was pretty young. I was in my early 20s and I had gotten pretty sick, and that's kind of what made me realize that our food system was, pretty terrible. But fast forward, the Wellness Kitchen, we really are just passionate about providing real food at a convenience too. I think people are busy, families are busy, and I think being able to have a service for people that they can come and they can get pretty much anything on our menu, and they can know that it's, gluten-free, dairy-free, seed oil-free, refined sugar-free. And so that really is right now what we are just really involved in trying to just spread the word, that you can eat clean, good food, and you can eat it also, at a convenience. People go out to eat so much, and I think they forget that you can find places like ours that do serve real food. There's a lot of places that are popping up that are really serving clean options, which is exciting because I think that's a big movement, and I really hope it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
One thing that I love about your wellness kitchen is that you include in there the seed oils that are free of seed oils, I should say.
You include all the seed oils, like give me rapeseed, right? Give me all of the oils. I want them all.
Yes, that's been a huge one, is the seed oils.
Mm-hmm. I'm a couple different things. One, I'm seeing these different companies that are coming in and saying, okay, we're going to use tallow. And one of my big concerns is that it's going to be greenwashing. They're going to add tallow to it with the seed oils instead of taking the seed oils away and just using tallow. So I think that's really important for people to know. That's
my big worry too, is that's what's happened to like olive oil.
Mm-hmm. And avocado oil.
Exactly. When you go to a restaurant and they say olive oil on the menu, you really have to ask, because a lot of the times it's a blend, and maybe there's 10% olive oil in it, but 90%, soybean oil or canola oil.
Canola, yep.
So you really do have to be conscious because there is so much greenwashing.
Yes.
Well, I didn't even know what greenwashing meant. I just, until Stephanie taught me, of course. But we're there buying mayonnaise, and of course, you talk about convenience. You can just make your own mayo.
Exactly.
You literally can. I mean,
very easy.
But you go and you say, oh, okay, well, so I know as a consumer that olive oil is good for me, so I'm going to buy olive oil.
Well,
mayonnaise.
And sometimes it even says like cage-free eggs with olive oil.
Right. Or the other one right now, which is kind of even newer, is avocado oil, right? Avocado oil mayonnaise. But what you have to realize as a consumer is just because the label says avocado oil mayonnaise or olive oil mayonnaise or made with olive oil, you still have to look at the ingredients because the first
flip it over because your first ingredient
is canola oil.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
It's infuriating as a consumer, but I guess that's what you call greenwashing, right?
Yes.
We just
make it look like it's, full of healthy or healthful oils instead of, being forthright
right.
and saying that there are seed oils in there.
I know that's what it should be like. And only 5% avocado oil. Avocado is the least ingredient in this.
Yes.
That's what's frustrating. I've had to educate a lot of people on that. A lot of my family, because they're learning from me. And so they go to the store and they're like, I bought avocado mayonnaise. And then I'm having to tell my mom, I'm like, well, you still shouldn't eat this. It's basically the exact same ingredients as your other ones. It's just the added.
Yes. Well, and they're doing it on so many of the healthy things, like even like snacks. There's so many seed oils.
Hummus.
Everything.
Hummus.
Literally everything.
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 Oh,
you see it. You can see it in alternative milks too. Like oat milk has sunflower oil and safflower oil, and you're like, what? Like these things should not be either. My theory is just if we can't make it to its closest form of the just one ingredient, then we shouldn't.
Don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And another one that was super surprising to me was chapstick.
Oh yeah.
So many chapsticks have seed oils in them. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just putting it on my body. Well, okay, number one, your skin is the biggest organ on your body, and it's going to absorb this into your bloodstream. And not only that, but the things that you're putting on your lips, if you think about it, how often do you either lick your lips or eat food or take a drink or anything, and you're ingesting that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It goes straight into your body.
Yep.
So we're happy. We're happy that we're happy to hear about seed oil free meals. So I always thought that it was a restaurant. Now it's not a sit down restaurant. Then this is a meal.
We're a sit down restaurant too. Yes. So we have like two kind of, I'd say, businesses. One is our meal delivery service, and that is what we started first. And our meal delivery service, we service Utah County, Salt Lake County, Park City, Wasatch County. We're starting to kind of go all over now. We partnered with a delivery service, kind of like a Uber Eats type of service. And so they now come to our location, grab all of our deliveries, and then they deliver them.
To our house.
Yes, to your house. Exactly. Yes.
Dangerous.
I know. We'll have to get you guys some meals. I'll have to send you guys some meals so you can try that. And then our cafe is open Monday through Saturday from 8 to 4. And that is like a full sit down. You can come order off the menu, get a hot meal. We have lots of yummy options at the cafe, like lots of smoothies, acai bowls, protein.
You have acai bowls?
Yes. And we have I personally think we have some of the best acai bowls.
No added sugar in the acai.
No added sugar.
Obviously, like I know that was almost blasphemous asking Alisha about it, but I was just like, let's just find out how real this girl is.
That was like the biggest thing is every time I go to an acai place, I'm like, can I see the back of that? And it's like sugar, cane sugar. And I'm like, this is ice cream. I'm like, essentially acai is supposed to be a superfood. It's supposed to be beneficial for you, not give you full, of sugar. So yeah, ours is unsweetened from Brazil, and all we do is it's an unsweetened acai, mixed berries, frozen mixed berries, banana, and then just coconut milk, and then we top it with our house-made granola and fresh fruit, honey, and some bee pollen.
Okay, we need to.
Yeah, I'm hungry now. I know. It was just like Portal, and I could just say, and here, try this.
That would be amazing.
That's the next version of the podcast.
You just open up a microwave door and it's there.
Yes.
We love acai so much that we do ask, right? Hey, is this, how do you sweeten your acai? It's like, well, it should be sweetened by the berry. And understandable, acai itself isn't a super sweet berry.
It's not. It's very, very tart.
Right. Mm-hmm. But I don't need, I'm wanting the fruit, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, I'm not wanting your juicy pop, right? Or whatever. And then when you're adding in the other fruits, the fresh fruits.
Exactly. When you add in the mixed berries and the banana, that gives it enough sugar.
Bananas.
It's God's candy.
And your honey, and then your granola. That's how we like it. But we're always asking. We're kind of like, I don't want to say snobs. We got to come up with another word for acai.
Do you even remember why we started asking? Because I had an experience. So I'm really in tune with my body, really in tune. And my friends and I decided to go celebrate one of their birthdays, and we were going to go to this new acai place in Provo. And so we met there, and I was like, you know what? I haven't eaten breakfast, so I'm just going to get a large. And I totally ate all of it. And then when I was done, I was shaking so bad. I mean, I know that's not the healthiest thing if you're just eating that for breakfast.
Totally.
But still, I shouldn't be shaking.
No.
And so I was a little shaky, and I was like, that's so weird. I've eaten at many places that have acai, and I've never been this way before. And so I was like, oh, maybe it was just because I didn't eat breakfast. And so we had gone back a few months later, and I had the same experience, but it was even worse. And so I just had this thought, obviously from God. And so I went to the counter and I said, hey, what do you guys sweeten this with? And they were like, well, it depends on which one you eat. And they said, but most of them are sweetened with cane sugar. And I about dropped to the floor. I was like, are you serious? This is crazy.
Oh
and so, and of course it's the ones that I like the most.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so after that, every time we've gone to acai, we're like, okay, do you add sugar? Okay. What kind of sweetener is it? Just
was it like a simple syrup that they added, or
they said mostly it's cane sugar, just straight cane sugar.
Well, I think it's because
is it mixed in, my question is it mixed in with the acai already?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, it's already mixed.
It's all about the distribution, right? Of what you're buying.
Yeah.
There's a place up in Salt Lake that we've gone to before and that we like. And this is how much we like acai and acai bowls, Alisha. I think this is, of course, almost 97% of the good things that come out of our house was from our chief health officer, who's sitting to my left here. And
you need to make me a shirt.
Yes, that is so funny. Yes.
And so we're like, can we buy some of this bulk from you? And no joke, they allowed us to buy the 3-gallon tubs.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
amazing. That they come in at
Are you sure it's not 5?
No, it's 3.
Oh, okay.
And believe me, I know. I think it was $125 or something like that to buy a 3-gallon tub. But the number of acai bowls.
I was just going to say the number of sides you could make with that was probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
200?
Yeah, we were, and wherever we travel, Brisbane, Australia and Sydney, Australia, we're acai freaks for good acai bowls. So
I'm nervous for you to try it. I'm so proud of our acai. I know you'll love it.
Well,
I'm excited
I'm going to show you our credentials, our acai credentials. We'll be here. We're from the Make America Healthy Again Robert F.K. Jr., RFK Jr. Acai Association.
Oh my goodness.
And we'll be certifying you today, MAHA certified.
That should be a thing. Well, I mean, not only that, but then I typically get honey on top of my bowl.
Yeah.
So
Of
like,
course.
I just want a
You're
little bit of
literally
honey.
getting a sugar bomb.
It's true.
And you're not even like mentally you're like not even thinking this is happening, and you're like, but your body is like, what are you doing to me?
Seriously, freaking out.
It's funny how like your mind body like connection, like your mind was like, I'm not eating a bunch of sugar because you didn't know there was a ton of sugar in it, and then your body's like, no, I feel off.
Yeah.
This
I'm
is
screaming at
You're
you.
like, what? And then you're like, oh, okay, that's my body telling me that my mind was right. Something wasn't right.
Yeah, it's called frozen Smartie juice, right? It's just the lick a
That's
stick
where I'm like,
powder.
this isn't healthy at all.
You know?
There's
No.
nothing healthy. I mean, I feel like the trend, people forgot that the trend was actually about having a superfood rather than the acai. But now I think people are just like, they just don't care. They just,
Yes.
it's just another sugar bomb.
Yep. I will say there was another place in Provo that was doing acai also. And so before we went there, since I knew the other place, did cane sugar, I'm like, let's avoid that place now unless it's for dessert. And so I called them and I was like, so do you sweeten it? And they were like, well, we add fruit. I'm like, so you don't add like cane sugar or anything like that? And they're like, no, ooh, that's gross. I'm like, okay, we'll come then. So what inspired you, Alisha, to create Mountain Wellness Kitchen?
I think just the amount of disease and sickness, my personal experience from getting sick when I was 19, I was essentially diagnosed with Crohn's. And I've always had a connection, that mind-body connection. And when I was talking to the doctor, I pretty much told him, I was like, well, I think it's food. I'm going to I'm going to do a diet essentially. And if it doesn't work, I'll be back. Because at that point, he wanted to put me on a list of medication. And I've really never been on medication in my entire life. And I just didn't feel aligned with that. And I was like, well, I will be dead if this doesn't, if my changing my diet doesn't work. And I left, and sure enough, within, I would say 3 or 4 weeks, I removed gluten, dairy, refined sugars, soy. I pretty much went to a paleo diet, and within a few weeks, I started noticing like major differences. My gut, my skin, my hair. And then within 6 months, I would say I was fully in remission, no symptoms whatsoever. And I went back, and I was just to, let him know, I was like, look, I feel good. I did this, this, and this. And he literally, I couldn't even tell him what I did. And he basically was like, well, you've healed yourself, so you don't need me anymore. And pretty much just told me to leave.
He didn't care about.
He could care less about what was truly healing me. He was annoyed that I didn't want to take medication, and that, I solved my problems. He said, he goes, oh, you're a rare case. I'm like, oh, I'm a rare case. Yeah.
You are a rare case because you wanted to do something about it, and you were willing to make a lifestyle change and not just take the red or the blue pill.
And that's exactly it. And what's so funny too is like being young. I think I had a lot of determination because I don't being told I can't do something. And so I was like, I will do this. I'll figure this out. When I really learned what Crohn's was, I was like, that just connection. I was like, it's inflammation of your gut and your intestines. And I'm like, what goes through your intestines? What goes through your gut? Food. And I'm like, how can this not, and I just kept going back and forth. I'm like, how could this doctor not know that literally this disease is so, and I was 19, I was in college, I was
Wow.
eating, drinking, everything I shouldn't be doing. Um, and I think for me, I think that was my tipping point. I think a lot of kids, a lot of, 20-year-olds can go a long time before they hit their tipping point. But I think I was um, just weak and I couldn't anymore. And so I'm glad that it happened to me pretty young, because I feel like I have a lot of people in my life now who are in their late 30s in full blown Crohn's.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary. I'm watching them in full blown Crohn's. I'm like, oh my gosh, had someone taught you to heal yourself before? Because now a lot of them have ostomy bags, and that you
Oh,
can go
Mm.
back from that. Once they remove your intestines, they're gone. And so it's a really scary disease. And what's so frightening is that the doctors are literally just kind of like, well, you have like two options. You take the medication, and then you get to the point where the medication's not working anymore, and we take your intestines. So they kind of let people know that, like, you get to this point, and then that's when we have to do surgery. But I'm like,
man.
why are we even getting to this point when really at this point you tell these people to remove this, 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 and this, clean up their lifestyle, sleep, heal themselves, and they don't need surgery. So that really taught me. But my biggest thing too was that I had so many friends that started having autoimmune disease, and a lot of them had Hashimoto's. And so I was already eating a gluten-free, dairy-free diet, which is recommended for Hashimoto. And so these friends were like, "Will you meal prep for me? You're already kind of meal prepping." And so I started meal prepping for them, and they started telling other people, and it just grew word of mouth. And sure enough, then it turned into like a business. I honestly did not plan to have this as a business. It's just my passion, but it turned into a real business, and that's when I decided that I wanted the brick and mortar. I wanted a place that people could come and that they could sit down and know everything they were eating was clean, gluten free, seed oil free, and same with our meal delivery service. I wanted to have a service that is delivered to your door. All you have to do is literally put it in a saute pan or in an oven, and you have organic, seed oil free, gluten free food right at your dinner table.
I love this. It's
this
awesome.
this is dangerous information.
It's very good. Even my friend that's in the hospital right now, like I'm so excited to tell her about your business and that she can have it delivered to her house
Or to
Yeah.
the hospital.
or to the hospital. Well,
Yes.
she does. She one of the things she said in the text was, "I can't eat this food," and a swear word. And she's like, "Because it's not food, and I know that this is not going to help me heal. So if
No.
anybody is willing to bring me some clean food, I would
Yes.
love it."
That's
So
kind of my next passion project, is trying to get into the hospitals. That is one of the biggest.
Institutional.
Yes, because if that's not change, what I'm trying to say, there's no real healing and hospitals if we're not providing real food.
yes.
And when I had both my babies, same thing. I'm like looking at everything, and I had food called in because I was like, I can't even have the dressing. There's
Or the
soybeans.
Yoplait. Yeah, you can't have Yoplait because,
No,
Because
and
that's not really yogurt.
It's
And
not
what's
really
also so
yogurt.
crazy is there's just so much money in the hospital system, and I'm like, but we can't. But Coca-Cola sponsors it. Like, what are we doing?
Yes.
It's sad. It's frustrating. My husband works for Air Med. He flies their helicopter, and Coca-Cola literally sponsors the emergency room. I don't know what they call it, but like with free Coke and free all of their sodas and everything. And I'm just like, I'm like, this is sad and pathetic. I'm like, you guys should be eating real food, promoting real food, but it's just it's so backwards.
It is backwards.
It is. Hasn't always been this way, but yeah.
I know when you look at like how hospitals used to be,
Mhm.
how they used to use linen sheets and how they used to not have the fluorescent lighting. They used to have the iridescent lighting because that's better for healing too. They used to
Yes.
serve real food.
I recently saw a video, and it was testing those two different lightings on, I think it was like a kindergarten class. And the first one showed the kids at their desks or they all had, long tables. So there were like 4 or 5 in the room, and they were like all jittery, moving around, constantly having to do something. And especially this one little boy, I was so sad for him. And then they changed the lighting. And I want to say it was within like a day or two. And the room was so much more calm. And that's the only thing they changed was the lighting. It was crazy.
It really is. It's crazy. I mean, when you start going down these rabbit holes,
I was just about to say,
you are just like, oh my gosh, you're kind of mind blown. And you're just like, what are we doing why are we doing this? First of all, that's my big thing. I'm like, why are we doing this to our kids? What's the purpose of, but then you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, oh, we're literally building robots, like that's like what they're trying to do for our children. They don't want them to think. They don't want them to use their own, brains.
Be educated.
Yes.
Follow the money.
Follow the money.
Now, you're talking to entrepreneurs who love creating business. We love making money. We love helping women around the world make money as wellness entrepreneurs. So
yes.
I can't just say leave it at the money. Money's bad. No, but follow the money and follow the control, right? Where those two intersect. Like, listen, you want to make a ton of money off of me? Awesome. You're providing me something that I want, that I need, that I love, that's good for me and wholesome, and that's going to help my generations. Like, we're going to pay. We will pay for that. But where you're taking away the education, where you want my money and you want my intelligence, where you want my money and you want my choice. Well,
and your health. They want your health.
That is a cost that is too high to pay. And you talk, I'm trying to remember, do you guys homeschool, Alisha?
We don't. I guess I shouldn't say, we're more of like a hybrid. Riley goes to a charter program. So like,
great.
Monday through Thursday. And it's very like outdoor based. We're kind of deciding on our little guy what we should do with him, because we are like, he is not a 8 to 3 school kid. So we're unsure. We go back and forth. Some days we're like, let's homeschool. With my husband's job, it's pretty flexible, and he wants to be homeschool dad. So I'm like, more props to. But we're not. I still am so busy with my business. He still technically works full time. So yeah, no, our daughter is at a charter, and then our little guy's at a little Montessori preschool.
Oh, love Montessori. Montessori. The reason I bring it up is you talked about institutionalizing.
Yes.
Taking this inspiration for this, I'm going to call it medicinal food. We're going to start calling you medicine woman. Actually, that's my
name, medicine woman.
That's my name for Stephanie. I call her Buffalo medicine woman. Anyway, we, taking medicinal food, right? And when I say, I'm talking like the Hippocrates approach. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. I'm not talking about pharmaceuticals. I'm talking about the healing power that's come from the earth in the form of our food. And we prepare it and put it together. You talk about institutionalizing it, and I brought up schools. And so I really was just asking, what's your context from a school standpoint? Because yes, should we have better food in hospitals? Absolutely. We're talking about, we're in major, for the most part, crisis recovery time, right? But how about we never go there? Or how about we cut out 80% of that? And so that comes down to school, the food in our homes and the food in our schools.
Mhm.
Right. And we homeschool, so we don't have kids. We've done it all. We've done, little private, a lot of charter, bunch of public, bunch of homeschool, bunch of whatever, we'll just call it, applied free education
Yeah.
that we
What
do.
works for your family?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I just think about,
each kid is different, and
yes, they
I
are.
feel that really a lot because I feel like my daughter is a social person. She wants to, not necessarily for school, but she wants to be there for her friends.
Mhm.
Sure.
Whereas my other kid, I think, is going to be the complete opposite and could care less about social friends time,
Right.
So I think it does also depend on your child, like I don't think that
Definitely.
if you have the opportunity and you can, like, I don't think you should just do the public because that's what everyone does. I think it should be what's best for your kid.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot, especially since COVID. I feel like homeschooling or co-ops
Yes, they've
have
given a lot of
really,
options now for families
yes,
to,
so they
to
can,
supplement them too. They have
yes,
that program where you can get, I think it's like $8,000 per kid to help with what kind of schooling works best for your family, which I think that is really awesome.
yes, it
Yeah, it's
is.
powerful. And, we have the two children that are home right now. Well, they're both pretty social, but,
Yes.
they're in dance, they're in ballet and they're in
That's the thing nowadays. They're in so many
swim and they're in a
extracurricular
different dance
activities.
class and,
Horse
and they're
lessons.
in horse lessons with private tutor, and, they're doing, they've done some junior rodeo. So it's, just trying to provide them a life. But anyway, I was talking about the food issue.
Yes.
It appalls me at what we call healthy food. And
Or just food in general.
or we call it, how can we call, and you're talking to a guy who loves the taste of Coca-Cola, right? Speaking,
You haven't had one in a while. I'd be.
no, have you noticed?
Yes.
Have
I'd
you
be
noticed
curious.
that I have just,
Cut back on soda in general.
yeah, I'll have a ginger beer every once in a while, but I used to have a Coke about once a week, sometimes more. Like I've never been the 32-ounce guy. Like I'm not that guy. I'm getting some tacos. I'm getting real Mexican Coke. Give me the real sugar, right, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Or
You're going
but
all
not.
in for the real.
But you
real
talk
stuff.
about Coca-Cola sponsoring the hospitals and the Life Flight, and this Life Flight sponsored by Coca-Cola, right?
Yes.
This was made possible by Coca-Cola, both the flight itself and the fact that they keeled over at mile 7. But I'm amazed that we call Doritos food, but we're teaching that in our schools, is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I know.
I'll just kind of cut to the chase, and I love this little vignette about Japanese schools, and what does nutrition look like in Japanese schools? They have a full-time nutritionist on staff, right? This is a teacher, then goes to extra couple of years of certification in nutrition. Then they prepare all meals. There's no processed meals at a Japanese
it's
school.
all made from. It's 100% made from scratch.
Everything comes in that day. They're making the miso soup.
Yep.
They're bringing all of this in. It's scratch kitchen, and then there's education, and it has to be this way. It can't just be delivering it to your children, because listen, when they go out of the school, they're going to have to make choices, right? So how do we educate them? But they go, okay, here's what your carbohydrate is. Here's what your protein is. Here's what your fat is. And here's and we're going to teach that so that you know what you're consuming. And in the US, for the most part, like I'm still waiting to see this. Like, I don't see that. We're still feeding these kids macaroni and cheese. Garbage. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you guys know that it's $19 billion that is allotted for our food nutrition programs in the United States? $19 billion. And out of that $19 billion, 41 cents goes to the children per kid. 41 cents. So how can you feed a kid on 41 cents? You can't. You cannot. That's where there needs to be the government needs to get out of the school programs, and they need to let local farmers and local people like me take over the nutrition programs.
Oh,
because
beautiful.
that's the thing. There's too much money involved because all these players in the playing field, they're getting a little bit of the money and a little bit of the money and a little bit of the money. And they're finding, Nabisco. Okay, Nabisco will do the Lunchables and Smuckers will do the sandwiches and Macintosh does the cut up packaged apples, and they subsidize everything. And then what's left is the 41 cents for the kids. It's the big people that are getting all the money. And it's horrific because it's like, these are our children that will be our future politicians, our future president, our future teachers, our future scientists, and we're feeding them garbage. And then we're like, now go sit down for 8 hours and shut up and learn, sorry for the late. But it's the truth, and then we have all these kids who are ADHD and attention, all these attention problems. And we're like, they get school lunch. Most of these kids get school lunch every single day. And we wonder why they're so hyperactive. And it's sickening and sad. And I hope there is some real change. I hope that they put, I would say, a little bit more money back into the communities to provide food for our children. Because I think there would be more people who would step up and be like, no, I'll take on the nutrition program. I would be, and I have contacted Wasatch County and have tried to get in there at any sort of way, but it's so controlled. They're like, no, we can only buy from this reputable source. And I'm like, so you can only buy glyphosate apples from this place, you're telling me. And I don't know how to get into, but
yeah, it's a good question.
That's a big mountain to climb, but
it's a big mountain to climb, but it needs to be climbed.
Reformation that needs to be made. And hey, we're at a crossroads with the national attention, which is important. The most important thing is grassroots. It's what you're doing. It's you're reaching out to the school district and saying, hey, we provide this. It's you teaching moms, right? Providing meals and teaching moms and families how to do this for themselves. It's us. It's me massaging beef so that Stephanie can have her non-high maintenance lifestyle.
Or even, educating our own children. Recently, I've said this before, but teaching our 7 and 9-year-old that are at home about seed oils and about food dyes and about good sugars and bad sugars and those types of things. And then, long story short, showing up to dance class, and one child is in dance and the other one's in the other room with a couple girls who are waiting for their class right after. And I overhear my daughter saying to them, oh, we don't go to that restaurant because they use a lot of bad seed oils. And
7 years old.
Don't you love it though? Doesn't it make your mom heart feel so good? And you're like, oh my gosh, you were listening.
Yes, it was bursting. And then on top of it, she's like, because they're like, what? And she's like, Mom, teach them about seed oils. Can you tell them what it is? And so I got to talk to these, young girls about seed oils. And then later, our daughter was just like, Mom, why don't they know about seed oils? How come you know and I know now, but they don't know about it? So I got to talk to her about that and, educating, helping to educate each other.
It is. It's a lot of fun to educate the kids. And I love how they come out with, like, my kids do it a lot to, like, my parents personally.
Oh yeah.
And my daughter will she'll call my dad out just flat out. And he's like, I have never been embarrassed but by your child, because she'll be like, do you know what's in that? That's titanium dioxide, and that gives you cancer. Like, she's like so serious too, because I just do it all the time to them. Because, well, I not really mine because they don't really get it, but like my niece or my nephew, I will be like, hey, Johnny, you know what you're eating? And I'm like, that food dye that gives rats tumors. And he's like, and then my sister-in-law would be like, Johnny hasn't had Skittles in months because you scared the crap out of him. I'm like, well, good.
Good job.
As a child that grew up at the Five and Dime, spending a significant portion of my takings and my earnings on every form of sugar and food dye back in the day. I thank you, Alisha, for cutting the generation, cutting the, changing the course. It is important. I think a lot of people don't realize it's not really important.
Yeah.
Look at the state of so many people's health. We've got a show on autism coming up.
Oh,
And, you go from the 1970s to the current numbers, right? Like,
Mhm.
will you just think that this is just happening just naturally?
no.
No, this is lifestyle induced,
Yes.
passed on
Yep.
through a generation.
Mhm.
Yep.
So,
And I feel like a lot of times it's not like, if my parents knew or if their parents knew way back when, would they be doing it? Probably not.
No,
So
exactly.
it's,
The more you know, you
uh,
just, it's learning, right?
yes.
It's just, I find it pretty easy. It's not, I don't get sad about it either or anything. Like I don't mourn my past life or anything. Like it's just, I feel like I personally am just getting smarter, more educated, which is leading me to a more healthier life.
absolutely.
Definitely.
People are like, don't you live kind of a boring life? Like you don't do this, and you don't do that, and you don't do this. And I'm like, no, like if anything, like I love my life now. Like I feel so good. I could never go back to, the things that I used to do. Like it just, I would never go back. I know too much now.
Well, yeah.
It's just like, having a taste of freedom. Somebody
Exactly.
who's been captive and they have a taste of freedom, they're not going to go back and say, I want to be captive.
Exactly.
It's kind of the same thing. I feel like since we've really overhauled the way that we're eating and, different lifestyle changes, I feel like, sometimes like last night we went to a wedding reception. I'm like, oh, that ice cream looks so good. And it was vanilla. So I'm like,
Soft serve ice cream.
there shouldn't be food dyes at least in there. I'm like, okay, I'll just have a little bit, which typically I wouldn't even be able, I'd have a big old thing and want more. But now that I've done this, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know that I could have eaten more than I got.
Yeah, it's overly sweet now. It's like
Yes.
your body's kind of like, I'm good with one bite.
Yes. Yes. And even honestly, even after, like when I went to bed, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of sick.
Yeah.
Like I kind of wish I didn't eat, maybe had only one bite instead of 10,
Totally. Yep.
but it's just that natural progression of everything tastes so much better when I eat fruit. Oh my goodness, the flavor and the sweetness is like candy.
Oh, it is. Fruit sometimes is too sweet for me.
Yes. Yes, I don't typically eat near as much as I used to.
Yeah.
All right, so how can busy moms prioritize health without burning out?
I personally think that it's pick pick what is what is important to you. I think there's just a lot of this kind of like greenwashing. I think you can kind of get way in over your head because there is so much about like healthy lifestyle, non-toxic, organic. What do I feed my kids? So I always tell people, I'm like, pick your three main things. Do you want to have, organic food? Do you want to have um, clean cleaning products in your house? Pick what you can afford, pick what you can do, and pick what makes sense, for your lifestyle. Because I feel like people are like, I have to do everything at once, and then they don't feel like they can do anything, and then they just give it all up.
Yes.
So I think the key to really is what is important to you, and then going from that, picking what, also because things, let's be honest, the non-toxic life and non-toxic food is expensive. A lot of people can't afford to do everything. So that's why I don't want people to be overwhelmed when they are learning about, a non-toxic life, and pick what's important for them and their family. And then I think once you start doing that, then it just slowly all starts happening, you start being able to, okay, I got this down. You start realizing like, I can afford to eat this way in this budget, and not compromise our family's health. And then you can maybe add, okay, I'm going to buy the toxic cleaning products now, just do what works for your family. without it being so overwhelming. Because
Mhm.
that's where I feel like people fail, is they just feel like this is really overwhelming. And, what do we put on my body? What do I put in my body? What do I put on my hair? What do I put under my arm? It's a lot. And for people who are coming into this, it is overwhelming.
How do I
Absolutely.
I
purify
gotta
my
get a red
air?
light box. Like, those things are 400, like, that's where I'm just like, no, just start buying organic fruit. Go there. Start there.
Yes.
Well, and there is this idea that, it's expensive to do these things. Well, no kidding. We just bought Jaspers. We got Jaspers air purifiers for the
Oh my
house.
gosh. Literally was looking at those 2 nights ago in my car because I had like a $400 off one, and I was like, gosh, it's still $1,000.
Yes, we actually got a screaming deal around Black Friday. So we're working with a natural doctor, and so we had her code on top of it, and it stacked, and it was
So
a
you
great
stack
deal.
We
those
bought
codes.
four. We bought 4 machines.
Wow.
Because the more machines you bought, the bigger discount they gave you. And then on top of our doctor's code, I think we ended up paying, I don't remember how much it was, but it was like buy 2, get 2 free pretty much.
Like
Wow.
it was pretty amazing.
That's
I should say buy 2 on sale, get 2 free.
Yeah.
It was screaming deal. So we're like, okay, how can we not get, 4 for the whole house?
Yeah. No.
And I'll tell you, like 3 years ago, there would have been no way we were going to spend several $1,000s to clean our air, right? And so I think one of the things in answer to your question is, you have to realize that when you're working with people who when you're working in a community and you're learning from people, and that's one of the things, like get in a community with Alisha, right? Get in our proactive health and wellness community, get in the Forever Young show community. This show is the community. And then you can choose other ones too, right? And you start to learn, but you also have to realize that like it was just a few years ago, I was crunching Doritos on the road and down in a Coke, and
this is true,
and eating 4 pieces of pie in a sitting because I can, and just call me Superman, right?
Or a dozen cookies. I mean, they were homemade, so they were better, but still.
But most of the people that you're talking to who are people of education or influence, they've just stacked, just like you said, Alisha, one experiment in their lives upon another. You don't buy the red light and the infrared sauna. We love ours.
Yes.
And
yes.
and the vibration plate and the Jasper air purifiers and the water distiller.
This is where we would overwhelm people, and they'd be like, this is $10,000 worth of stuff to
Yeah, I can't afford that. But I do.
Well, and I got most of those on sale. Let's be real.
Well, yeah. She is the CSO. She's the chief savings officer in the family.
You should start a thing on like the wellness saver or something.
Yeah, she is good.
When things are on sale that are in the wellness realm, you should be like, hey, buy it now.
Maybe that can be part of part of the Forever Young.
Not right now. Maybe community. In the near future. You got a lot to do, but not right now.
Yeah. But there is something you can do. You, just like you said, Alisha, you can start with something that's important to you right now or that you're learning. And what you may find is that if you're not buying, how much is the big bag of Doritos these days?
Well, it depends.
I was at the gas station because I did an April Fool's thing. And I bought a bag. Well, the small bag, the little snack pack bag was $3.75. And this was at the gas station. So if you go to the grocery store, it's a little bit cheaper. But the big bag of Doritos was $8.99.
Crazy. At Costco, you can get it on sale for like $4.
Yeah.
The huge family size.
Okay. So, but even at, on sale, right? When it's not on sale, it's probably like $6.
Yeah. Probably $7 or $8.
So, okay. $7 or $8. So let's just take $7, $8. Okay. For a big bag, and you think, or maybe you're the conscientious mom that wants to make sure everybody gets their variety, because you can't just buy one bag because every kid has to have their choice. Do they want the Cheetos, or do they want the stinking hot Cheetos, or do they want but you go get the individual bags at Costco in the box, right? So you got the variety pack, and you're spending, I don't know, $6, $7, $8.
Oh no, it's more than that at Costco.
Yeah, the variety pack I'd say is like $10.99.
Okay,
yeah.
So I'm like $10.99, And there's absolutely nothing. We're not even going to go to the negative toxic side and all the chemicals that are in there. Let's just straight up nutrition. There is nothing in there for your kids.
No,
And
there's nothing bioavailable at all.
there's empty. So you're basically throwing away $7 to $10. What is a bag of carrots? And again, what is a bag of even carrots organic? A small bag.
$1.99.
Okay, a few bucks.
Yeah.
And then what if you were to buy, some other vegetable, right? Pick up, your vegetable. Like for $10,
Yeah.
you could get more. You could get your kids would be so sick of carrots, but that's the point. Like they won't be sick of carrots when they don't have that stuff available. They often will choose the good, but again, just don't make it available and teach them. It doesn't cost you any more to provide that side dish for your kid's lunch that has 7 carrot sticks, a piece of cauliflower and a few organic grapes that haven't been sprayed to the hilt, right? Like I'm going to say for half to 2/3, you're nourishing that child as opposed to just empty money. And like Go-Gurt, your Doritos, whatever, the Yoplait yogurt, the Lunchable that you're feeding your kids. I mean, what your
the Smucker sandwiches. I see
Smucker's sandwiches
I see those all the time.
Making peanut butter sandwich. Like again, and this is how I grew up. So I speak from experience on Grandma Sycamore's bread, which we always used to, we thought that was a better option. And actually maybe, frankly, those are probably all the same. We do sourdough now. Like if we're going to do gluten, we're going to do Italian pasta.
Yep.
Right. Imported Italian pasta without glyphosate. And, and we're also going to, we're going to do a sourdough, a
real sourdough.
Here's a greenwashing too. Sourdough. Like next time you go to the grocery store, I can't buy sourdough bread at the grocery store because it doesn't really exist.
It's just a flavoring.
Yes. But we have a local baker here, Abigail's Oven. Shout out to Abigail's Oven in Spanish Fork, Utah, who makes the best sourdough. Other than some of the homemade sourdough in our community, commercially,
Wilfreda,
right? Wilfreda, we'll give you a shout, Wilfreda. You know who you are. I mean, Mrs. W. But giving our kids some sourdough, like the real ancient sourdough.
Yep.
And that sourdough, by the way, is $12 a loaf. Like, don't get me wrong. Like that's cheaper. That's not as cheap as the 99-cent loaf that you have to eat 5 sandwiches. But I'm just saying there are gives and takes. It is not just cut and dried. Oh, it costs more expensive to eat healthy. Try us, try me and try yourself. It doesn't have to be out of reach.
So what are your favorite non-toxic swaps and wellness hacks?
Ooh, I love my non-toxic swaps. Let's see, for pots and pans, I love cast iron. I would say I mostly use cast iron. I did, because I was influenced by Instagram, I did buy an R-Play set, which is totally non-toxic as well. And they're really pretty. They're beautiful pots and pans. I do love the R-Play pots and pans.
And what's R-Play? What is it? Is it ceramic? Is it stainless steel? Okay.
It's ceramic, yep. And stainless steel. Those I think are like my top 3. Stainless steel, cast iron, or ceramic. For the house too, aluminum foil is really popular, right? Everyone likes to use aluminum foil. I'm like, you're literally putting aluminum into your food. And I get sometimes you can't get away with it. So my tip, I guess my trick, I should say, is if you have to use aluminum, put parchment paper below first and then put the aluminum on top. Because for me, sometimes we can't get away with that working in a commercial kitchen. I sometimes have to use aluminum. And so that's what we do. We use the unbleached parchment paper and then we cover it with the aluminum. So at least it's not getting into
It's not seeping in there.
Yes. Yeah. Have you ever used beeswax wraps?
Yes. The beeswax wraps are great. I love them.
Mhm.
They obviously just can't get hot. Nothing,
Mhm.
they can't cover anything that's warm. So there's that. I kind of learned that lesson. Um, even just slightly warm. What
You
was
melt
it?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it melted it on. I can't remember what it was. I think I heated something up and I just covered it. Oh, it was just a glass, one of the ceramic glass measuring cups. And
Oh.
it had maybe coconut oil in it or something. And it only been heated not too long. But anyways, I covered it, left. And I came back and the beeswax melted into the coconut oil. I was like, wow.
Well, it's kind of like sealing the bottle. It's like ancient sealing,
Yeah.
right?
Love beeswax. Stainless steel. My kids both go to school with stainless steel lunch boxes because I'm
I
also
love it.
big proponent because there's
No
plastic.
plastic.
Plastic is everywhere, and I'm just like, we've got to start being conscious about like our kids are living in plastic. They're being served in plastic. They're taking baths in plastic. Like, so I feel like there are little easy things that we can do as parents. Get a stainless steel lunchbox.
Or glass.
Or
But
glass, yeah.
I
Glass,
guess
not preferred for my children, at least.
But both.
I'm like,
I've got a great idea. Here's the guy hack, and the girls are like, "This is a show for women who know, Seth." Bad idea. I'm like, okay, that's not making it.
If it was an adult, then
Yes, if it was adult. Yeah.
I'm with you.
I'm really too on clean water for the bath. So I've just bought like little filters that go over the bathtub, because that's another thing is not everyone can afford a full filtered water system in their home. And so they're like $29.99 on Amazon, and you just put it right over the bathtub. That's been a game changer on my kid's skin. I think that's also why a lot of children have such bad skin issues, is obviously from food, but our water is so harsh on their skin.
Well, if you think about everything that's in the water, and then you're showering or soaking in
Yes.
a tub or anything like that, and it's not typically like, hey, we're going to be in there for like 2 minutes. Like it's,
Yeah, no, my
longer.
kids love the bath. They can stay in there for an hour.
Right? Same with ours. So it's like, think of all that you're absorbing through your
Yes,
skin.
in your city, I'm sure you guys know this, but you can look at like the EWG on the water in your city, to see like what's in your water. And for Heber, I was like, and I'm sure it's most places, but there is so much cancer, arsenic, mercury, lead, and it's all like 500 times the legal limit. So you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm
crazy.
literally putting my children in this.
Yep.
So that's an easy way, or easy non-toxic swap. Toothpaste. I'm a big proponent on toothpaste, not having fluoride in our toothpaste.
Mm-hmm.
They remove fluoride from our water hopefully soon, so that's a big win for us. There's so many great options. And then I would say, what are my other at home? For our house, are like, we use really clean oils. And so swapping out, I think that's another big thing, is just swapping out your oils in your house. If you have vegetable oil, throw it away. Just get rid of it. Replace it with coconut oil or avocado oil.
Olive oil.
Olive oil, yeah. Get the seed oils out of your house. That's an easy one. That's, I feel like, a pretty cheap one, and that's a pretty big one that'll impact your health.
I love that you can even get some clean oils at Costco.
Yeah,
you can get it bulk, and it's
it's
not that
it's
expensive.
a very Yeah, I think if you really want to like or seed oil for your house, go to Costco, buy a jug of olive oil, and it'll last you probably 6 months, if not more. And they have tallow at Costco, ghee at Costco. Literally, like, you could go and buy 2 things of cooking fats and oils for your house that'll most likely last you, like, in the average household, probably a long time. My house, not very long, but I use a lot of, I cook a lot, so I use a lot of fats and oils, and like, I have a thing of tallow that's probably like this large, and I use probably in just a couple weeks.
Yep.
I'm excited to try this food though from Mountain Wellness, because I'm knowing that all the sautés
Yeah,
and all
you're
of,
going to have a hard time choosing knowing, because now you're like, I can literally have everything. It'll be a hard. We'll
like
do a sample. We'll sample a lot for you guys if you come.
like how can we go to another, like, you know, other restaurants? We continually becoming more discriminatory. And I'm also doing it just because I like to, like, I'm on a journey of understanding my body and understanding what works, right? And you know, we had a show on GLP-1, the hormone, recently, and Stephanie and I are doing a GLP-1 protocol, totally natural, all plant-based, right? So I'm really interested in what I'm eating and what am I putting in my body and how I'm literally thinking of my body, of fueling my body
Feeling,
instead of just eating,
Yes.
right? And so, you know, we'll be at the, you know, the restaurant, and I'm like, do you know how many ounces of beef you're putting on my tacos? And they're like, well, I think it's 3 ounces. Like, well, I ordered extra meat, so can you tell me how many ounces right now? Yeah, should be 5. And we were with three of our daughters last night, 2 of them younger, and one of our 20-year-old daughter. She had her roommate with her, you know, who's never eaten out with us, you know, and I'm ordering before, and he's dishing me up some black beans, and I said, is that a 1/3 of cup, or is that a half a cup of black bean? Like, how big is the ladle? And he's looking at me, and
It's like, I
you know,
have no idea.
and I'm like, actually, I want a corn tortilla. Just I like, you know, but you know, you start to ask, do you know what these are cooked in? Right?
Oh,
What are
yeah.
you cooking? You know, and there's so many great people who are bringing all this light, right? Dr. Casey and the Means, you know, Dr.
I
Casey
love
Means and his
Dr.
wife, and
Kelly, yeah.
Real Foodology, and Paul Saladino, and of course, we need to ask this question. You don't know this story. Alisha told me this story. This is a nice little vignette. Maybe we'll end with this. Of course, we've got RFK Jr. and the whole thing. By the way, you should be on that. You should be part of the ambassadorship for RFK Jr. and this Make America Healthy.
I know.
I love it. I know. Tell us your Maha story.
Of my
The original. We could almost say that you're the OG.
Maha. So I made a Maha hat during Trump's first presidency. And
What?
yes. So I've always been this, when Trump was like, let's make America great again, you know, because I've always been on board this health train. I made these hats, let's make America healthy again. Well, I had a lot of haters, mostly haters, all haters, I'd say, for the first little while. But I wore it everywhere. I gave it to friends. And I want to say this was in when was his first presidency?
2016.
2016. So 2016. And I had a couple friends, like I sold a couple of them. And so anyways, I told my husband, I was like, back, 2016, I was like, we should patent. I don't know what I said.
Trademark.
Trademark. I was like, we should trademark this. And everyone's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Fast forward to now. The Maha movement actually happened, and I didn't trademark it, which is a bummer, because if I had, I would be really good now. But yeah, no, I laughed because I was like, oh my gosh, the hats. I was like, I literally made this hat before anybody. Now it's like now you can go on Google and click Maha, and you can get from pretty much like 10 different stores all sorts of Maha gear. But yeah, no, I laughed because I was like, I was the original Maha, and people did not like it then, which was funny because I was an outcast for sure in 2016. But now people like me.
It was too close to Trump, basically. It was
way too close
to Trump, and nobody else was saying it. You are the original. You are the original girl that said, "Make America healthy again." Am I mistaken in this?
No, you're not mistaken at all. I wish that I had trademarked it. That's my one wish.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
But it's okay. But now, you know what? I'm just happy that this is a real movement. This is like a real thing, that it's not just a hat saying something, that it's something that's actually physically happening in our country.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have somebody who is standing up for this, that, so go RFK. I am so happy that he jumped on. I've always been a big fan of him. He's the one that, like, I learned all of my vaccine data or my vaccine
education and
yeah.
There you have it. The
Wow.
the original Maha girl.
I'm surprised I haven't heard this.
I'll have to get you guys some hats.
That would be fun.
Are you guys going to the Be Healthy Expo?
I think we have our business conference that weekend.
Okay.
No, it's the 11th and 12th, isn't it?
The Be Healthy is 11th and 12th.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have
Our
Alicia
son has some,
we have
thing
some
Friday
big things,
night.
and then Alicia recommended that we actually set up a booth to talk about GLP-1.
Be Healthy was
body.
It was, it's really just all people who are like-minded. That's where I found, like, I'd say 100 of our customers was last year at the Be Healthy.
Yeah. Wow. Michelle Jorgensen, Dr. Michelle Jorgensen, who's been on the show, is speaking there. I saw it. I'm like, Steph, we need to get on top of this early next year, and we need to speak at Be Healthy.
I was just going to say that you should be guest speakers. That would be huge for you guys. And I think that'd be great for the community too. Cause I think there's a product that not a lot. I'd only known because, I wouldn't have known about you guys had I not come to the
Barbara
summit.
O'Neill.
Yeah.
Oh, nor would we have met the OG in the flesh, and now have a real in on the support for our family. We're already doing a lot. We're doing great things, but having a little extra support from a meal perspective sometimes can be super, super helpful. But it's like, where do you go? Well, now we know.
Well, and anytime we're residing, we live in Utah County.
Utah County. Okay. Yeah, we deliver to Utah County.
Yeah.
Giddy up.
Yeah.
Giddy up. So gluten-free, dairy-free, seed oil-free. The gluten-free issue, is that born primarily because of the glyphosate issue, or how much of it is about the evolvement, and I'm going to say the devolvement, right? The kind of the adulteration of natural heritage grains, where we're not really eating grains, the heritage grains, right? Heirloom grains. We're eating super hybridized GMO grains that really don't have, they're not laden with nutrition that maybe we would have seen, a generation or two ago. What's your thought on the gluten aspect from that perspective?
You're correct. How many times do you hear people say, I go to Europe and I can eat whatever I want. And, then they live here and they can't eat gluten. They can't. And that's exactly, we have altered our gluten because we want it, quicker. We want it stronger. We want more of it. So genetically modified it. And I think we've genetically modified it to the point where our bodies are resistant to it, that we can no longer tolerate it. And if that's Hashimoto's disease, if that's Crohn's, if that's celiac, because I really believe that most of these autoimmune disease fall in the realm of, we're just being over, what's the word I'm looking for? Over I don't know what I'm saying, but we're basically getting way too many toxins from our food that is causing these autoimmune diseases. Like I said, the glyphosate back in I think it was back in the 90s, we altered it to that it could withstand basically any sort of weather. Basically, it's indestructible. There was a study saying that animals won't even eat it. If animals won't eat our wheat that's being produced, that's telling you something.
Yes.
Mice eat anything. They're not touching the wheat. It's that, and it's not just the wheat too. It's the corn. It's, it's our other,
It's the big crops.
it's
Those,
the big, it's all the subsidized crops. So yeah, no, I really believe that if we clean up our system and if we remove the genetically modified wheat strains and we go back to the heirloom, like the kamut, the acorn, back to our traditional grains, I believe there would be no celiac. There would be, I mean, yes, I think maybe there'd be a little bit of cases of people that couldn't.
sure.
But I really think we would be healed. Like I think most people would be able to heal their guts, that they would be able to like how they go to Europe and they can tolerate it. I think it would be the exact same here in the US. I want that. I've wished for that. As much as I love the gluten-free stuff that I make, I would love to be able to eat, ancient grains again. And honestly, I can a little bit because I don't have celiac. And I have healed my gut, that I can, like, I've been able to incorporate, kamut, and acorn, or is it einkorn? How do you say that? Einkorn.
I'm not sure.
Something like that.
Einkorn. Yeah, it's einkorn or something. I can do more of those now that I have healed my gut. But I think also we just live here in the United States, and no matter what we do, you can walk outside and you could be potentially, consuming glyphosate, because we just we don't have any bans or laws on what we're spraying. Because as much as you think that you're being safe, your farmer down the street, he could be spraying,
Well, not only that, but for us, we live next to water. And so in the summertime, we get so many mosquitoes.
Yep.
And for a long time, we were just used to having so many mosquitoes and would do what we can to, keep them at bay when we're outside. But then all of a sudden, for a couple summers, I'm like, we really don't have many mosquitoes anymore. This is so weird.
Spraying?
Until we were outside at our fire pit and a sprayer guy was coming down our street. And I was like, everybody inside. Like,
everybody grab the gas mask. Fall out.
Have you guys heard? I mean, this is a whole other rabbit story, but like DDT, how they banned DDT because they basically said that it was it was giving people polio. Oh my gosh, you got to go down that rabbit.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah, that was a really crazy one, because that was like, wow, that woke me up a lot. I'm like, did we ever really have this crazy polio epidemic, or were we spraying?
Did we induce it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask I've heard a lot about kamut lately. And so my sister was asking me, where do you get your kamut? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't used it yet.
The food nanny, that's where most of the people that I know get their kamut, is from the food nannies, their storefronts. And I think you can get it probably like on Amazon, or any maybe natural. I don't think Natural Grocers carries it. I know they do carry the acorn, but I don't think they carry the kamut. But the kamut is so great too, because it actually has a lot of protein in it.
We have a friend that makes kamut bread.
Sourdough. She learned from the food nanny.
Oh, she learned from the food nanny.
She has the food nanny's sourdough book.
Yes, her
with kamut.
Was that sourdough that we were eating?
Delicious.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
I was just like, if it was just sourdough, it'd be even that, I'd be feeling, but it was sourdough.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The sourdough kamut is, I think, a softer texture than traditional. Yeah. And I think that's where it gets people, because they're like, this isn't sourdough, but it really is. But that you can get sick, or not sick, but you can eat a lot of the kamut, because it is so soft and delicious.
Yes. It almost reminds me of like a homemade white bread.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. You're like, and this is good? Yeah,
yes.
This is way good. This is not what this. You might be wondering, but this ain't wonder.
Well, and it was so cute. We were leaving her house. It was actually no, it wasn't. When we went down to St. George.
They're in Kanab.
We went down to Kanab, and she's like, "Oh, do you want a little loaf to go?" She's like, "Will you eat it?" Like, I'll give it away if I know you're going to eat it. And we're like, will we eat it? Yes. It'll be gone in like an hour.
It was amazing. So if you were in Europe, you'd be serving, you would be serving you'd have pasta, European pasta options at Mountain
Oh,
Runner's
absolutely.
Kitchen.
I would
Okay.
be, if I was my little cafe in Europe, I would be
Okay.
full gluten.
Okay.
Nice.
And what about dairy? Like if we were talking about non-pasteurized dairy,
I'm a fan of non-pasteurized dairy. I am. I'm just, once again, I think we have altered all our dairy and nobody can digest it anymore. And that's why everyone is lactose intolerant. But, bring back the raw milk.
A2?
I'm a raw goat's milk, though. We have dairy goats. So
okay.
I don't do raw cow. It still doesn't go great with my body. But the raw goat's milk, I love. I have a glass every single night. And I swear that is why I don't get sick and why my hair is so thick, is that raw goat's milk.
I think we need a milking goat.
No, we're like I've done the goat. So are you milking Nubians or Saanans or
I have
Alpine?
a La Mancha. I have a little.
Oh, La Mancha.
She's a full-size La Mancha.
Oh, La Manchas. Okay.
Yes. The little tiny ears.
Yeah, the devil-looking goats.
Yes.
They look like little devils. They do.
I've actually never.
I had a Nubian, and between the Nubian and the La Manchas, I will go with La Manchas all the way. They're the sweetest. They are gentle. She literally, I have her cookies and she follows me and gets right into the milking staunch and just lets me do my thing. And
it's because Nubians are too cute. Nubians are cute with the floppy ears, and they know it. And they've got that goat. They've got the superiority goat complex. Yes, La Manchas literally look like devil animals, and so they have to really build up their personalities, and that's why they are kinder.
And their eyes are so crazy.
They seriously look like they went into plastic goat surgery and something went deathly wrong.
Yeah, I make goat cheese, soap.
Okay, cool.
And I drink lots of it. And did you know too that goat's milk is the closest thing to breast milk? I
did know that. That women, if they can't breastfeed, that they'll use goat.
Well, back in the 1900s in Europe, specifically, I was reading this thing when either if the mom would die or if she got sick and could no longer, they literally would put the babies up to the goats, and the babies would nurse off the goats. And wow. I saw real pictures of this because I didn't believe it. And I saw multiple pictures of little babies, underneath, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I'm in my head, I'm like, that is so dirty. Like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope they use so much cleaner.
Clean the udder. That's why they call it a nanny goat.
But really, yeah.
I've
really
never heard that term.
You've never heard of the term nanny goat? Billy goat, nanny goat?
It was really interesting to watch that.
Yeah. I'd love to see that. I've actually never had fresh goat's milk. So,
gosh, you're missing. Well, we need to get you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It is so different. If you go to the store and you buy the goat's milk in the store compared to the raw goat's milk, goat's milk store, I won't touch it. It smells, it tastes terrible, but the raw goat's milk, no smell and just this sweet, creamy, oh goodness.
Yum. As a child, my dad was raised in the colonies and down in Mexico. Since I was a young girl, we would always have cajete, which is with goat's milk.
Yep.
And so ever since then, I'm like, oh, that's goat cheese. Okay, I'll try it. Okay, because I love that stuff. But
my employees, I bring goat's milk all the time. They make cajete all the time. They just I don't make it because they make it way better than me.
Wow. Do you sell that?
No, because it's technically raw and you can't. But I sell it. Right?
Let us know the days that they're making it.
We'll just happen.
We'll
to show
bring
up.
a 32-ounce jar, glass.
Totally.
I'm literally salivating.
You're salivating right now.
That's so funny. I'm like, I'm so hungry now. I feel like we've been talking about food for a while.
Yes.
Well, that is your jam.
It is. Yes, it is my jam.
It is. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Guys. This was fun.
It was great.
Great show. Show. This will go live next week. We'll keep you posted, let you know. Awesome. Cross promote it. We'll invite you to collaborate on the reels that we put out. And I'm excited to get your story. You're just Yeah, you're a pioneer. You're an inspired pioneer. And cut. It's a wrap.
Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for sharing this episode with that one friend who needs this conversation. Thank you for all the ratings, the reviews, the comments, and especially the support. We so appreciate you.
Now, if you want to take a peek behind the curtain and be the first to know about special previews, backstage updates here at the show, and especially some private collection content that doesn't come out in the regular show,
be sure to join our VIP community at theforeveryoungshow.com.